Hello everyone, and welcome to the Wonder of Star Wars, The Old Republic, episode number 45. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, this is part of an ongoing series, and I actually hide the earlier episodes from my channel, so if you want to start at episode 0, there is a link to the playlist in the description of this video. For those of you who are returning for every single episode, welcome back everybody! We are continuing our journey on Tatooine of trying to do every single quest in the game that we run across and trying to do them all on a pure free-to-play account. For those of you who don't remember from all the way back in like episode 1 where I explained I have a Cathar character, that is the only perk I gave myself. I have all the same restrictions, all the same account features as a normal free-to-play account would have, and I think I've said it before but I'll say it again. They really have not been a big deal. The only ones I have major complaints about are the not being able to talk in chat until level 25, which is a spam restriction measure, and they actually opened it up fairly recently, so now you can talk in group chat and I believe in guild chat, which is really nice. Just makes sense to be able to talk to people who probably invited you into their group in the first place. And so I'm super happy about that. It was an unexpected change and a very, very welcome one. And the other restriction is the credit cap, but to be honest, I haven't really been worrying too much about credits. Like, when am I gonna go buy that swanky outfit that costs 60 million credits? No, I actually still really like the one that I got, and I've been picking up cool random pieces along the way that I don't have any complaints about. And I'm not going to be spending tons of credits on decorations for my player housing because, well, I'm busy kind of playing the game right now, actually enjoying the storylines. Probably not going to get to stronghold decorating in earnest until like we're at hour 44, 45 or so. I would guess I would be done with all the story somewhere around maybe hour 100 if I'm lucky. We've got a long ways to go before we are truly and officially done. So what quests are we actually doing? If you remember from last episode, we're actually finishing up the planet. We are getting our datacron before we head to the next planet, and we actually came across some random quests out in the middle of nowhere that we did not get led to in any way. A couple of you guessed that these are bonus series quests. I think you are right, so good guess. But what's funny is I'm not eligible for the actual bonus series itself. That would come at level 60 or so. They used to be available a short while after you finish the planet, but now they are stuck to level 60. Why? Never got a real answer about that. I'm hoping it's something they change in the future. They rework things. I'm hoping at least by the next expansion, so it makes a little more sense. One of my guesses is that it was just part of the updates that they made to make things more fluid, easier, more streamlined for newer players. Because right now, there would be often players who would say, I kind of got bored, I kind of got lost, like there's just too much going on. And this was not like an uncommon complaint. Not really a complaint, just like a reason people would be like, why'd you stop playing? There's just too many so-so quests. So they made it so that you would really focus on your class story and the planetary storyline, and those are by far, hands down, the most, the best ones. The ones that you actually really want to play. We did the bonus series, I guess, I'm sure you guys remember, on Balmor, and there was not... I don't regret doing them, but I don't think I would recommend someone to do them either. They're really just kind of fetch quests compared to a lot of the other exciting quests, and there wasn't even a cool reward, which is my biggest complaint. The rewards were just like credits and experience, and seeing as I'm level 45, I'm about to hit the free-to-play cap of level 50. I don't care. Okay, can someone explain to me why this guy is shooting through the floor? Is Campbell down there? Do I need to have a talk with my monster? So this is going to be my second time playing with our pretty much almost brand new computer. We flipped everything out, except for our graphics card. No, don't stun me! Oh, apparently stun can ball through the floor. I thought it was pretty funny. I was worried most about the sound because I had to redo a lot of the settings for the new computer, and it turns out I messed up with the video and not the sound at all, and the last episode is pretty funny and cropped in an odd manner. Luckily we can still see Javiik about 90% of the time, and the only thing we're missing are the top of his kitty cat ears and the quest giver's ears for that matter. Luckily we were not doing any important quests, just random bonus series ones. Okay, thank you Campbell for actually being on the same plane of existence as me this time. Whew. So what has been exciting in Star Wars news? Not a ton. There's this is the week, or the month of Halloween and all its spooky findings. Things I'm looking forward to this month for SWTOR are me and Kid Lee, a friend of mine, a fellow content creator, are going to be doing a co-stream once again, and to celebrate October. And we're going to be focused on the lore of the Rakghouls, so if you are watching this as it comes out, this is going to be Sunday, October 28th. I mess up on dates on a pretty frequent basis. I would double check that date wherever I have posted on Twitter or wherever else you can find it. Kid Lee actually has an event up on his Twitch if you like to follow those instead. And we're going to be talking about Rakghouls, and we're going to be running a Rakghoul. It's not quite a flashpoint, it's called an Uprising if you've had a chance to try one. If you haven't, they are kind of short mini flashpoints, but each one has this really fun mechanic, and I'm looking forward to the Rakghoul one a lot because I've done it before and it's very silly and fun. Apparently we smashed enough things. Aw, can't sneak our way out. Something else kind of cool. I don't really promote or advertise or cover would be the right word, cartel market stuff too often, but they are working on something kind of cool for Halloween. I really enjoy the player housing aspect of the game. I really like it's very calming to decorate my house and collect things, and it gives me nice kind of goals, especially for the decorations that are not, you can't just buy them with credits, you have to go earn them in some way or another, like through flashpoints or through reputation. And one of the decorations that they're creating for the cartel market instead for Halloween is like some different graves and tombstones, and like there's a giant plot of tombstones you can get, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's like really nothing like anything they've made before. I was just very happy to see it, I guess, to see a creativity. So good job whoever decided that one. I was hoping there would maybe be some Halloween items you could earn in-game. There is one. They're doing something kind of interesting. You can have a low chance of winning one of the new cartel market items. I forget exactly which one. It's a cosmetic piece of gear, and you can get it from the Rakghoul event that's coming in the very end of this October 2018. So anytime it rolls around, if you really want that cool item, you can run the boss, and there's a small chance of it dropping, so you can maybe get lucky compared to your group mates if it happens to drop. Let's see what else. Oh, so I, as part of my channel, like I mentioned earlier, many people pledged to my Patreon funds, which basically people say, I like what you're doing, here's a bit of money. And we used those last month to rebuild our computer, and one of the things I do is I send out thank you cards to those who have pledged a lot, and I make these thank you cards. I have someone draw art for me, and then I color them and design them myself, and October's is so cute. Oh, I just want to tell you all about it, but I can't. It's a surprise till people get it in the mail, but it's adorable and it's Halloween related.
Sir, Imperial Infantry Division 130 at your command. What should we do with the survivors?
Kill them all.
No, we're gonna play Javiik in person and just imprison them.
They will make excellent witnesses. Leave them alive.
Yes, sir.
You think you can cross Kirgan Freem? Kirgan Freem spits on you. Kirgan Freem kicks dirt in your face. Kirgan Freem chews on your corpse. Boys, show them that they do not mess with the exchange. They do not mess with Kirgan Freem.
Bring it, Kirgan Freem! Bring it! Of course I'm facing the door. Of course. Why did I accidentally heal my... What? Did you guys kill them before I even get to get in the fight because I'm too busy pressing the wrong buttons? It's the story of my life! So the reason I brought up that card that I'm designing that I realize I can't tell you what it is now till maybe next week. I really enjoy making things with Photoshop, and I've enjoyed it for a really long time. When I was about 13, maybe even a bit younger, maybe a preteen.
I heard you had a run-in with that jerk Kerrigan Freem. I'm glad somebody put him in his place.
Put him in his place. In the dirt! Hey look, hi random player. Oh, Kawari, Red Moon Clan, the Empire's Wrath. Hey, what's up? It's something I've enjoyed doing since, very young. I would guess maybe even closer to 11 or 12. And the way I got into my profession that I actually do in real life, I'm a web designer. Long and short, I make websites. I want to make sure I'm going the right way here, not missing out on an opportunity to murder wantonly for quest points. Using Photoshop was one of the things that really got me into it. When I was that age, a preteen, I was playing online games. But no, not the online games we're playing now, not even MMOs. I was playing online browser games. I don't know how I got started. I assume probably a friend or something said, hey, come play this game on the internet. And I just started discovering the internet. Gotten in trouble a few times for using it when I wasn't supposed to because I was a crafty kid and I was like, my Archie comics, they have a web address and we have the internet, I can use it. Parents got me in a lot of trouble for that one. But I started playing Neopets. I don't know if it's something that any of you would know about. It was an online game where you could keep a pet, a fictional pet, not like a dog or a puppy. It was like this weird little creatures, and you could take care of it, and you could play games to earn fake money, kind of like credits, and there was just a lot of stuff. It was pretty extensive. In terms of games, browser games are probably one of the easier ones to make. You don't have the huge code and graphic base that you would for an MMO game, so it was very huge. There's so much to do, and that is the place where I started my profession. There was the ability to customize your little profile. For example, in SWTOR, when you think of what is your how do people see you? They see your character, you get to pick their species, you get to pick their name, you get to pick their outfit, their lightsaber, their class. In an online game, you don't really get that. You are yourself, and you get to pick your username, but you often don't get a lot else to say what is you. In Gaia Online was one of the other popular ones at the time. You could make a little avatar, but even that's not nearly as customizable as what we have in online gaming. One of the few ways you could express yourself was through creating a profile. Your profile would be pretty basic. It would have your little pets that you took care of on there, and it would have a link to your little store and your achievements, I guess you could say. And you could actually customize that using web design skills. You would use a combination of code and any graphics you made. And my dad had an old copy of Photoshop. I probably shouldn't ask where exactly he got it from or whether he bought it legitimately, but it allowed me to just explore as much as I wanted. I played a lot in the basement of my house. I wasn't too much of an outdoors kid. I mean, I still have friends I'd go see, but a lot of the time I just wanted to play on the computer. And so Photoshop is, I started, the code was a lot harder for me to understand, especially at that age, but the graphics, I knew, okay, I need to make this size and I can do whatever I want with it. There's no technical limitations except what I can learn to do with Photoshop. So being able to make those cards has really brought out my childhood love of just making art and design with Photoshop, because a lot of the days now I mostly make corporate graphic design, I guess you could say. It's not quite the same as artwork. And on my own projects, I either do video work where there's literally no art at all, just me running around, or me just talking into a computer, or me running around filming things in game. And I'm gonna die! Or my other projects, it's very web design based, like my website, or writing based. So I've just really enjoyed making these little cards, and I hope the people receiving them enjoy them too. So cheers to you guys. What else is going on? Right, Rakghoul event is coming near the end of the month. If you've never tried it out yet, it's available for players level 25 and over. And even if you're free to play, it's something you can check out. I've been hoping to make a video about it for a long time. It's just really hard for me to make videos about timed events because, well, I usually only get to play like one day a week in terms of making videos apart from Javiik, and I actually started raiding as well, so I've got one day less even than normal. So to start the event, I don't know what planet we'll be on, but the easiest way to start it at level 25 or higher, even if you're free to play, is on the fleet. I believe it starts on October 30th if you're watching this way later. I'm sorry, I'm talking about things in the past. And there should be a big terminal in this, the center ring of the fleet. It's glowing blue, can't miss it. If you want to know what other events are coming up, if you're watching this later, if you search online for the terms SWTOR in-game events, there is a calendar that they keep fairly up to date of what's coming up. That's how I knew what date the Rakghoul event would be on. And of course they post on their Twitter and whatever else. Oh, something that I have been doing I wanted to tell you guys more about is the operations, the raiding that I have been doing with my guild. My guild is so nice. They put together a late night group. There's a few other people who are in the later time zones like I am between work and being on the west coast. I live in California, and they have been really, I guess, nice about the time zones. Like, for example, some players are later like me, and other players just agreed to stay up late so we could have a late night group in the first place. Oh, just die already! Speaking of being nice, that was not nice. Oh my god. Thank you. Putting those credits in escrow. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be like a millionaire. Can I even see how many credits I have in escrow? I don't even know how to do that. Currency? Oh, I only have 200,000 credits in escrow. Damn, I thought it would be so much higher after all the escrow trouble we've had so far. Just destroying. Yes. So it's actually been really fun. I've enjoyed it a lot. I forgot how much I miss progression rating. Now, progression rating is when you're working with a group and mostly the same people every time on an operation that's more difficult. It might not necessarily be the hardest operations in the game or the hardest content in the game, but it should be content that's difficult for your group. For example, if you're a group of brand new players, all 8 of you barely just reached level 70 or level 50 or whatever, you might even just be doing story modes and progressing and working on those. For our team, we are working on hard mode, Dread Palace, and Dread Palace is a really, I want to call it beautiful, but I'm not sure that would be quite the right word. Haunting, maybe, would be a good word. A very visually nice design of operation, so I really like it, and I really like the mechanics. For those of you who are more familiar with the operation, we just recently beat Higher Ends, the one where the floor disappears, and we just were able to start seeing the fight with a tree, the one with the past and the present and the future. This is what I'm talking about, mechanics. You say things like, oh, the fight with the tree, and someone might know what you're talking about. Someone who's listening in who's never played that operation is like, what? There's a tree? So I really enjoyed the camaraderie of it. It's the first one, we were just running some story mode stuff to get a little more gear that everyone had already run a billion times.
Exchange camps from here. Good work.
But so I was bored. I was like, please not let this be what we do every night. Even though the company was good, the content was boring to me, and I was like, oh, I hope this isn't how it's gonna be. Nope. Turns out when you've got good people and good content, it's a hell of a lot more fun, and it's something I really enjoy. And that kind of content can be really difficult to get into if you're playing solo. I mean, it's kind of difficult to get in any group content if you're solo. You can try watching on the fleet for groups forming, or you can try and use the group finder, but you're definitely not going to get the same feeling as progression rating, which, like I said, with the same group, roughly every week. Some groups do it 2 nights a week. Really dedicated groups might even do it 2 or 3 or 4 times a week. Like, I'm sure the best groups in the world, if there is any at this point, probably do it every night as often as they can. Many of my guildmates, they do multiple groups a week, so maybe they'll do an earlier raid every Wednesday and then come join us every Friday for the late night one. So it's a really nice way to get to know people too. You would think that under duress might not be the best way to get to know someone, because half the time you're like, you could be yelling or screaming at each other because you're trying to get everything in order for the fight. But no, I really enjoyed getting to know people through operations, especially before I started my new job. I was that person doing it 2 to 3 times a week, and yeah, I got to meet so many people and get to be on such good terms with these type of people. And because you're on a team, it's like soccer or anything else where you're able to give each other lots more slack because you know you're all working hard and on a similar goal together. Say, acquire cloaking devices. What do I gotta kill? Use the decloaking device and destroy the stealth assassins. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's do it. Stealth droids found! Ah! I'm glad this wasn't like that one quest on Nar Shaddaa where I was just running around killing things wantonly and they were not the right things at all. That was actually the... Wow! Veranticus! That was actually, I guess, the original way that I met my husband was through raiding. He was very quiet, so I didn't get to know him well, but I did get to know him as well as a trusted member of my team. So it's kind of cool in that way, you know, how people say if you want to meet people, meet new friends, possibly meet someone to have a relationship with, whether it's friendship or love, they say go do hobbies, go join clubs, go join whatever, especially if you're moving to a new city, go take cooking classes, go join a sport team. Go do a sport, yes. That joining a progression team would probably be whatever the equivalent of that would be online. Not that I recommend joining a progression team looking for love. That's that kind of sounds like a recipe for disaster. Oh, I got those stupid droids. I just want to kill things wantonly. I don't want to have to think about it. So, let me back up a little bit to a topic that I mentioned before, and that was trees. There is going to be a big update coming up fairly soon. It will be in December 2018, and that will be the Ossus, the Planet of Ossus Jedi Under Siege 5.10 update. And I'm very excited for that. And I actually just recently made a video about the lore of Ossus. One of my guildmates wrote it for me. I was very, very impressed and very happy at their skill of both research and of relaying that information. I was like, oh my god, they offered to do it. I wasn't sure how good it would be. They did it, and I was like, my heart, this is so awesome. And I was so happy to read it and not have to research it myself and to be able to just focus on the video aspect of things. And there was some very interesting stories that I learned about that I didn't know about, and it really gave me a chance to dig more into the comics series Tales of the Jedi, especially specifically about Ossus, not necessarily about any of the other stories. And I knew the stories in terms of the content. I knew what they were about. I knew about Exar Kun. I knew about Yul Keldroma because we did that other lore video about all the ancient Sith and their basic stories, and I researched the heck out of them the best I could for those, but I never actually looked in the source material just because at the time there was way too much source material to look into. And but for this episode, since it was so more focused specifically about Ossus and during a specific time frame too, it gave me a better chance to go look into the comics. So I found it to be a very interesting experience because the comics are quite old. Don't ask me for a date, I can't tell you, but the style is very old and it's pretty different to many of the comics and graphic novels that you might pick up today. And I can't say I love the visual style. And I can't say, I don't know if I love the writing. I'd probably have to read a lot more, but I was surprised that I didn't like the graphic style. In some way, I love it. In another way, I can't imagine myself enjoying reading it graphically. And what's so cool is some of the coolest stories are from those comics, but I'm not sure if they were released today, if people would even bother to read them. I really don't know, because I'm not a huge graphic novel reader. I found that I read too fast is my main issue, and I don't take my time to actually see and look at the graphics. They just pass too fast before my eyes, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose. I have had a few that I liked. Let's see. Saga, the little that I've read, seems really cool. There's another one that I read that's about if anyone knows what I'm talking about, it's a large book. It's about a young man goes back to his family and just kind of telling about his life, and one of the younger siblings has Down syndrome. There's a lot more to the story, but it's not necessarily one we'd want to talk about on this stream. If anyone knows the name of that, I'd love to share a little more about it, because I can't do much off the top of my head. But that one is a lot more focused on the story necessarily than the graphics, and the graphics seem to take such a strong part in the Star Wars comics, at least the ones from that era. Like, for example, the outfits that we see in game of Ulic Qel-Droma and Naga Sadow, they are all as, I don't know if the word is ostentatious, they're as graphically punching as they are in the comics as they are in game, and it's like, wow, every scene with like a Sith in it has so much power in it, and they really stand out. So now I'm back to my tree. One of the things that I really liked about the Exarcha and Ulic Qel-Droma Nomi Sunrider Ossus story arc is that when Ulic Qel-Droma and Exarcha went to Ossus, they wanted to steal the artifacts. That was one of the big reasons they showed up again on Ossus. And there was a Jedi Master. I'm not going to pretend I wholly understand the story, but he stopped them, and we'll talk about it soon.
The exchange won't be spying on you again.
Probably untrue, but at least they won't be able to use the same tricks. Thank you, my lord. According to the tracer you planted, it's Hutt's paying for information against us. High Command will have a lot to say about that. I hope this covers any expenses you may have incurred.
Yes, I need to buy new shoes, thank you. And there's that tree. So the Jedi Master who stopped them, he didn't want them to have the precious artifacts, I assume mainly so they didn't use them for evil. So he took them into his arms and turned himself into a tree and hid the lightsaber artifacts in his trunk. I don't know about any other Star Wars stories, but that one was pretty unique. First off, number one, what type of species can turn into a tree? Is that normal lore? Is that something? I'm guessing this is the kind of thing that makes it difficult to just say, okay, every single piece of Star Wars lore that's ever been created is now canon. Because then, like, I don't know, maybe Leia could turn into a tree instead of force freezing herself and pushing herself back into the space pod. Nope, she could just turn into a tree, it'd be fine. What if Padme turned into a tree and then she had tree babies? I don't even know if it's a species thing or if it's a force user power. I know that when Nomi Sunrider removed Ulic Qel-Droma's powers, that was a force thing that she learned on Ossus. And actually, I think she learned it from the Jedi that created the big Jedi archives on Ossus. Don't quote me on that one, though. Let's talk to you.
The droids are out of commission.
Tree?
And you have their transmitters? Excellent. Our scientists will begin reverse engineering them immediately. I appreciate your aid, my lord.
Tree.
The Empire's pride is restored.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's just saying it's a heroic that I completed recently for Captain Ruskin, not Reskin. Here we go. Here's the last one. I think we might be done with Tatooine now. I'm really not sure.
Your dig site is clear.
Marvelous. I'll start gathering my team before any carrion eaters start taking root. The Reclamation Service owes you its esteemed gratitude.
I have a high feeling I'm going to regret having done these quests now, as I'm probably going to get stuck in the bonus series, but c'est la vie. This is the way to play when trying to do all the quests. Okay, so we need to go speak to Casey Ricks. I think he's in the cantina near the front. Ugh. Oh, I don't have any other abilities. What am I doing? Here we go. So, guy who can turn himself into a tree. So I also don't know. I only saw a few pages, probably about 4 or 5, that had this tree person, Ood Bnar. And I don't know if he's... Shh, hush now. I don't know if he has more story elsewhere, or if this is just how comics, especially the older ones, are. Just boom, suddenly crazy thing happens. 5 pages, done, never to be seen again. It is, I think, one of the issues with comics is you can only go so far when it comes to written lore, I guess. To explore a character's backstory fully might take an entire book. For example, if we wanted to tell Javiik's story so far, that would be not even a book. Just his backstory alone would be like 6 small comic novels, I'm sure, before we even get to the first episode on Korriban. And you really have to, when you're creating a comic, I imagine, choose your words and your scenes very carefully, because every one of those words must then be illustrated. It's probably... I can't imagine how much more work it is compared to just writing a novel. Campbell, what did you even say? The heat does not trouble me, but keep cool in this world, little Sith. Oh, Lord, shove it. I can't imagine how much more work it is to create a comic versus a book. For example, a book or a novel is very easy to make, not necessarily if you're making a good one, but you can just bang out words like blah, 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 versus a novel. You have to actually fit all of those words onto a page or into a layout, and then on top of that actually draw them all. What group mate? I don't have a group mate. Telling me I can bring a group mate in, but buddy, I'm all by myself. Okay. Oh, I need Andronicos. Okay, let's get him.
By man follow.
Ready.
So you beat Wilkes and made it out of the desert alive, huh? Wilkes doesn't surprise me, but when I heard you were heading for the desert, well, I wasn't expecting to see either of you again.
You seriously underestimate me.
Wasn't meant as an insult. There's lots of stuff in that desert that can't be fought, and it's just as deadly. Anyway, I'm glad you came, because it gives me a chance to thank you for taking out that runt Wilkes. With some real leadership, maybe the exchange on Tatooine can move ahead for a change.
Good luck with that.
Thanks. I'm hopeful. And Andronicos? I'm sorry.
It's alright, huh? We wouldn't have worked out anyway. All that shouting and throwing stuff. Somebody was bound to get hurt.
Yeah, right. Well, guess it's goodbye then. Good luck out there.
What was all that about? Nothing. Just saying goodbye is all. Now let's get off this rock, huh?
Alright. Let's see, just to make sure before we get off of this rock, did we get all of our datacrons? And look at that, Tatooine is all lit up, all 4. Good job, guys. So I think this is a good place to call it a night. Next, we'll be moving on to Alderaan, Javiik's homeworld, actually. So I'll see you all on the next episode of The Wonder of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Bye, everyone!